Hello, hey everyone. John here with WebDev for you, here to help you build beautiful websites without code in Webflow. For anyone who's just joining the live stream or is new to the live stream, I run these live streams every Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. Central to 1 p.m. Central Time. And within the live streams, I cover pretty much everything Webflow, how to build in Webflow, how to create interactions and animations in Webflow. I also provide a bit of support within the live stream as well. So if you have a question, you can ask it in the chat. And if it's a personal question or if it's a question relating to your personal project, I do ask for a super chat so that we can, the super chats just help support the channel. And it also allows me to help you right here live on YouTube. All right. Hey, Alex and Base, what's up? So yeah, today we're going to keep it pretty light because yesterday we really went in the weeds as far as the website build. So we're going to take a little bit of a break from layout building because there's just so much that goes into building a layout and a website. So today I'm going to keep it light. We're going to focus on building just some simple animated buttons and just have fun with interactions in Webflow today. So that should be fun. So just as a recap, let me open up the site that we worked on yesterday, and I'll just pull it up really quick. Yeah, so yesterday we worked on this site and we just built this layout below here. So this was a pretty good build. There was just so many different concepts that I was trying to cover within the span of 1 hour that it got a little bit overwhelming, especially if you were new to Webflow. What I talked about yesterday might have been like a different language or just too many different things to cover in one session. But yeah, basically I just created like one section here, like one wrapper, and we added, different div blocks and text inside of different wrappers and things like that. And it made it easy for us to make the website responsive using the specific layout I created, because we just had to use Flexbox to change some of the horizontal elements to vertical, and then I could change the ordering of the image and the text using the Flexbox property in Webflow, which made it really easy to make the website responsive across all devices. So yeah, I'll probably rename this project to Mountains Project or something like that, and then post it in chat so everyone can see it and take a look. Or I can post the read only link actually. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me just rename the project to something more related to the project. So I'm going to call this WebDev for you live stream build mountains live build mountains. All right, so save changes, and I'll post the read-only link to this project in the chat. Hopefully everyone can see it. Just let me know once I post it. Oh, and the link is too long. All right, so I can't share that in chat. Okay, I'll just share the actual webflow.io URL. And I might find a link shortener so I can actually share it with everyone in chat. Is that something you would like to see? Like the builds that I have, would you like to see the read-only links, or just let me know in chat. Hey, what's up, Graphic Design Pod? How's it going? Hello, CXC Agent. What's up? Welcome to my live streams. So I do these every Monday through Thursday. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central, and we just go over everything Webflow, how to build websites in Webflow, creating different layouts, creating animations and interactions, and I also provide support within the live stream. So this is what we built yesterday. It's just a quick quick, simple site, and we made it responsive. So yeah, and we added like this parallax effect with the mountains. All right, so I won't go over this too much more in today's session. Today we're going to keep it light and just create some animated buttons. And if you have questions during the live stream, just feel free to write them in chat, and I'll be reading everything in chat. So today, this is codedrops.com. Yeah, I believe it's codedrops. Yeah, codedrops.com. And we're just going to create some of these buttons in Webflow. So I've already created this button. No, wait, this one right here. So this one, if we go to, let's go to webdevforyou.com. Yeah, hello, Glauber. How's it going? Welcome to the live stream. And yeah, so in my interactions here, I've created one of these buttons. So this button here, something similar. This gets triggered on hover. So let's see what button I want to create in this live chat. So let's create this add button. This seems like a fun one, where it's like a circle and another circle like goes down, and the text changes. So that'll be what we build today. Yeah, for sure. Nice. Glad to be here for sure. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We'll just keep it light and breezy. Feel free to write anything in chat, anything you're curious about, with Webflow, just feel free to write in chat. All right, so we'll start with a section. So in the body, we'll just add a section. And I'm holding down Command K to add a new element, or you can go to the elements panel, click the plus, and then add different elements here. And I'm just going to call this section. I'm going to set the min height to 100 VH, so we're working with a full viewport section. I'll set the flex setting to center, so we're working in the center of the canvas here. All right. And for the button, I'm going to make it really large initially so we can all see it as I'm working on it. So this button is probably like 100 by 100 pixels in width and height. So we'll do something like, so I'll add a div block, and we'll do like a 300 by 300 pixel button. And we'll make it smaller later, but this is just kind of to, make it big so everyone can see it as an example. All right, cool. So yeah, we have the gray color initially. So I'm going to give this div block, I'm going to call this button or circular button wrapper. Okay, I'm going to give it a background color of gray. So let's just see if I can grab the gray color used here. We don't have to use these colors, but why not? So let's see. So it's E7, E7, E7 for the background. And I'll make the border radius 50% to make it a perfect circle. And looks good. So then we have this black circle that just kind of goes down. So the way to achieve this effect is that we'll just hit copy. Yeah, we'll just copy the circular button wrapper and paste. And I'm actually going to paste the second one inside of the first one, just like that. So they're overlapping, but we can't really see it. So I'm going to duplicate the class of the second one and call this inner circle. And we'll change the background color to not black, but something close to black. I never like using black exactly. So maybe, yeah, 2424 looks good. So then we have the inner circle, so that looks good. So then for the circular button wrapper, hello Excellence, how's it going? Yeah, it's going good. How are you? Yeah, I don't think I finished that sentence well, but yeah, how's it going? Yeah, I'm keeping it light and breezy today. We're just gonna work on a few animations and work on a few buttons. If you were here yesterday, you saw that we kind of went into the weeds as far as building a site. We worked a lot on layouts and different font concepts and everything like that. I did use Rem and Ems. Um, what I might do in that case, because I know you brought up Rems and you made a really good point, I might just make one live stream or do one live stream around Rems and Ems so we can all really grasp the concepts behind it. But in the meantime, I might stick to pixels just because once I start talking about Rems and Ems, it does overcomplicate the specific other thing that I'm trying to showcase. Because if I start using Rems and Ems, then I feel like I have to explain it more in detail. So I might just do one live stream where we just spend the whole hour learning about Rems and Ems and different examples on how to use that font style for the site. But yeah, you brought up a great point the other day on how it's beneficial to use Rems and Ems. You're way too underrated. You deserve to have hundreds of views. Oh, thank you, Jurgen. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully at some point, the goal is to stay consistent with these live streams, and hopefully the word spreads and more users start coming to the live stream, and it just becomes a place where we all learn, Webflow together, and I'm able to answer questions for new users and users wanting to cover different topics and maybe even some more advanced topics, maybe even some custom code things as well. So Alan wrote, hey, would you be able to do a stream where you do a page build using the FinSuite Clientfirst system? I'd be really interested to see how you use it. Yeah, I have gotten that request. I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago. So I'll play around with the Clientfirst system. I did take a look at the FinSuite Chrome extension, and I'm yet to really work with it. I did see that it added like new tabs in the designer, but initially I was a little bit hesitant to use it because I don't know, it wasn't native to Webflow, so I don't want to add different things that Webflow didn't create into the site, but I haven't given it a fair chance. So that will be coming soon. So just stay tuned to the live streams. I will cover that in one of these live streams. Maybe this weekend I'll spend a good time with it. One thing I did see that I liked, I think it had something to do with global colors. Like you could pick more global colors or something like that, or create a specific style guide. I really like that part of it. We're good over here, and it's too true. We need to run your viewership up. Yeah, appreciate that for sure. I would be super grateful, super appreciative if the word gets out, and the I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't think I communicated that clearly, but if everyone kind of shared this live stream and kind of spread the word. I'm not into really promoting too heavily, but if you know anyone who's new to Webflow and has questions or wants to see someone just build in Webflow, just send them over, and we'll get the chat popping. Have a little party up in here. I don't know. I'm not a partier, so I don't know if that landed. All right. Cool. So back to this button. Otherwise I'll start getting kind of silly with it. So we have the circular button wrapper. Yeah, thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. The circular button wrapper, we have the inner circle. And then for the circular button wrapper, someone wrote, John, the FinSuite Clientfirst is actually different from the plugin. This is more kind of a template design system. For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I kind of had that in mind, that it was more of like a design system. But yeah, I know Joe from FinSuite does a lot of great work. So yeah, I'll check it out 100%. Let's do that for Monday. Let's check out the Clientfirst on Monday. Nice. So Alan wrote, make sure you don't burn yourself out. You seem to be doing loads, which is great, but hopefully you can keep going long term. Yeah, that's the goal. I totally understand that. There's been a few projects that I've tried where I have gotten burnt out a little bit. So I have learned from those different projects. I was doing an interaction almost every day, and I tried a subscription. But I was also working at Webflow at the time. So I kind of had to stop doing that because I was doing support. I was a customer support representative for Webflow for about 2 years. and I couldn't really do any extracurricular things or side projects because by the time the weekend rolled around, I just wanted to take a break, right? Because I was answering customer questions about 6-7 hours a day, and answering that many questions, you do get a little bit tired where you just want the weekend to chill. So since then, now I'm working on templates. I have a new template hopefully will be out soon, and just working on interactions again, obviously not doing one every day. And then these live streams take up about an hour and a half of my day, and then with prep, maybe a couple hours in the day to prepare for it. But yeah, so far I feel really good. I don't have any signs of burnout. I got plenty of time to do the things I like. So I appreciate that, Alan. Thanks for the consideration. Definitely. Hey Lydia, hello. Awesome. So yeah, this button shouldn't take too long, so I'm okay with reading the chat because this is going to take just a few seconds or a few minutes to build. But basically, yeah, we're just building this button here. So this is from codedrops.com. We're building it in Webflow. Someone wrote, "Hey John, wanted to send you super chat, but I'm having difficulties with setting up the CC here at YouTube, so I bought you a coffee at Buy Me a Coffee instead. Cheers." Oh, Manuel, thank you so much. Super appreciate it. Oh man, I'm loving this chat. Like, it's becoming like a cool thing. Like, like I'm gonna call the regulars. Yeah, call some of you guys the regulars. That just come in. So it's great to see you every day and just grow and keep learning Webflow together. Can you elaborate on the difference between Elementor and Webflow? For sure. And yeah, Manuel, if you had any question or anything, like, yeah, anybody who sends a super chat or a coffee, you get high priority. So, yeah, can you elaborate on the differences between Elementor and Webflow? So I haven't used, so Amre wrote that. I haven't used Elementor. Let's just see at some of the features that it has. Elementor WordPress. Webflow just has so many amazing things that I haven't had the need to look at other things, but let's check it out. Yeah, it has a panel and it looks similar. Yeah, it's like a drag and drop. Okay. Yeah, it's probably really similar to some of the things Webflow does, but Webflow to me is just an all-in-one solution. So Elementor, is it a plugin? It looks like a plugin that you add to WordPress. And then you have access to some of these design features. So to me, I just rather use Webflow, because Webflow offers everything: hosting, like top-notch hosting, amazing designer capabilities, and yeah, Webflow just has everything I need to build a site. And Webflow to me is just working. The company itself is just working so hard to continue to add new features that it's just to me it's just going to be an all-in-one solution, not just for designing, but for everything related to building a site. So Manuel wrote, "Thanks, man. Have no specific question. Actually, just wanted to give a little bit back. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for sure." Yeah, cool. These live streams are awesome. I'm just really enjoying them. Yeah, thanks, Manuel. All right, cool. So hopefully that answered your question, Amre. I haven't really worked with Elementor. I've worked with WordPress before, and to me, Webflow is just eons ahead of WordPress. I wasn't a fan of all the different plugins in WordPress, and the user experience of WordPress to me wasn't ideal. Once I found Webflow, it was like the all-in-one solution I was looking for, and it has all the features and capabilities that I was looking for, and also the code that Webflow outputs is just like a chef's, like I'm not gonna do it because I'll butcher it, but like think of a chef's kiss. It's just like beautiful. Like it's like the closest one-to-one relationship that I've seen between the designer and the code. Like you could look at the code and think like a professional web developer built it. Yeah, it probably adds a few extra scripts in there, or like Webflow will add like maybe a larger script to work with the idea that it's being translated into code, but it's just amazing. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Webflow is still greater than Elementor and Editor X. Catch you next time. Thanks, Excellence. Appreciate it. Thanks for popping in. David wrote, what would you recommend as a simple shop system for Webflow? Um, Webflow Ecommerce. So I think I could share this. When I was at Webflow working at customer support, I I worked a lot on e-commerce. I specialized a bit in e-commerce. So if you do have any e-commerce questions or want to see me go through how to set up an e-commerce store, just let me know. And, I could probably cover some of that after this quick animation. But also maybe that'll be for next week too, because I don't want to get too in the weeds, or not in the weeds, but get too in depth, because covering e-commerce would probably take a whole live stream or whole hour to cover everything about it. Glauber wrote, actually, what is the best way to get projects with Webflow? Freelance, contract? I'd say that's highly individual, Glauber. Um, you probably go through Upwork and post your profile and say you're a Webflow developer and try to get some work through Upwork. Or if your local businesses need websites, maybe just go around, create a card and say, I build websites, and give it to different local businesses, see if they need websites. Craigslist, if you have a Craigslist in your area. I don't know if that's just a US thing. Yeah, but I would just, create a few different profiles, like maybe on LinkedIn or, you know, and have a portfolio website that you can send to people. Yeah. And, yeah, that all depends on how aggressive you want to be with promoting yourself and getting the word out there that you build websites. As far as getting projects with Webflow, yeah, I think the question could be framed a little bit differently, because Webflow is just a tool for web development. So I would ask the question in a sense of like, what would be the best way to get web development projects in general? Because again, Webflow is just a tool. It'd be the same as if you were doing building a website with code, right? Like, you're looking for a web development project, and you don't necessarily need to tell, unless the client needs to know and you're working very closely with the client and the client wants to edit the site, then you can say, hey, I'm using Webflow to build a project. But and it might be a good practice just to tell the client in general that you're using a specific tool. But I don't think it would hinder the client's view of the final result of the website. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, you're using Webflow, I don't want to hire you. First off, like, and if that was the case, then you could just explain to them like Webflow is outputting like almost one-to-one development code, so there shouldn't be too much discrepancy there. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know if I communicated that effectively. Manuel, yeah, covering e-commerce would be great, actually. Definitely. So next week I'm gonna write it down: Clientfirst and e-commerce. Absolutely. So let me just write that down. Make sure I'm making a note of it. Yeah, Clientfirst and e-commerce. Sounds good. Okay. But is Webflow e-commerce ready for the German market? Uh, yeah, I would say yes. I'm hoping Webflow adds more payment gateways. I know in Germany, I think Germany really wants ideal payments or more European payment methods. Right now, Webflow supports Stripe and PayPal for payments, and that's about it. And like only supporting, and Stripe only supports the major credit cards. So one thing, when I was working at Webflow, I did get the request for different payment methods like all the time. But I can't say for sure, but hopefully, at some point more payment methods get added to Webflow e-commerce. So yeah, I would say, David, I think there are quite a few German Webflow e-commerce sites. If you're okay with just accepting the major credit cards and PayPal, you can easily create a Webflow e-commerce site. Yeah, it seems. Yeah. Oh, so Manuel wrote, yeah, about compliance. Um, Yeah, Webflow has some good articles on compliance and GDPR. Um, so let's just look that up real quick. Webflow GDPR. And let's just type in e-commerce. Yeah, so you probably want to add a cookie consent for sure. Yeah, and then there's preparing for GDPR. So I would recommend reading this article, preparing for the GDPR. It was written in 2018, but I think they're trying to update some of the policies. And Webflow also has a what do you call it? Terms of service page, and you can just read through that. But I do know that there have been German e-commerce sites built, and I've helped users in Germany with their e-commerce sites. So yeah, I would just recommend reading on GDPR. That's something that I can't answer for everyone. I think it's a matter of having to read through all the legal information. Yeah, Webflow also has a global privacy policy, so that could include GDPR and e-commerce and how Webflow collects information. All right. Glauber, Franco, start with a few websites for your mates, and if you make them happy, people will hear about it. Absolutely. Were you asking about, so Glauber means like how I get projects? So right now, I'm not actively looking for projects just because I'm creating templates for Webflow. So that takes up most of my time along with these live streams. So unless a client really wants, like, is looking to hire a developer, reaches out to me directly, and then we agree upon certain terms, I won't really take on any projects. And I'm a bit pricey because I have a few other things going on. So if I'm going to take a project, it has to be worth it for me, because it is going to take up my time, and I'm already doing these live streams as well as creating templates for Webflow. All right. A lot of questions today. This is awesome. I don't know if we'll get to the actual build. So if anyone's new here, I do actually do stuff in Webflow. I don't just read the chat and answer questions. So let me answer one more question, and then we'll just build this animation, just in case anyone's new here and they want to actually see me build something. Okay, so Alex and Base wrote, this might be a dumb question. There's no dumb, well, no, it's not a dumb question. But how would you guys take payment from clients you do a site for? Do you guys use PayPal and make an invoice there? That's a great question. The other users can chime in. But Webflow does have client billing. I'd highly recommend typing in client billing Webflow, and then just read through. I think they have a video. There's a video for it as well. That just goes over client billing. So you can essentially have your client pay for hosting and pay for your site via client billing. Or you could create an invoice and send it to them as well. David wrote, well, I make websites for small businesses, so PayPal is good, but I think my customers want all the regular options. Cool. Glauber wrote, I'm actually working with Webflow, just migrated to product design role on a new fintech. Awesome, Glauber. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is so super glad you joined, because I'm happy to answer any questions as you're building in Webflow. WebDev for You FinSuite plugin has that feature. What feature are you referring to, Amkar? All right, cool. So while Amkar's writing that, I'm going to go ahead and build this animation. Okay, so we added a circular button wrapper. Yeah, so much good stuff. So Glauber, yeah, I'm happy to help. Like, I know a lot of product designers and designers who just get into Webflow, and at first it can seem a little daunting, because if you're not familiar with web design and development concepts, getting around the designer can take a moment. But I don't know how experienced you are with Webflow or web design and development, but I'm definitely happy to help if you're struggling with something or you need help with a specific concept in Webflow. I'm happy to field any questions. FinSuite plugin has that feature, GDPR. FinSuite plugin has a GDPR feature. FinSuite GDPR. Oh, okay, yeah, the cookie consent. Oh, I got you. So, all right, cool. So I'm guessing the plugin has the cookie consent banner that you can add. All right, I'll definitely look into that. So we'll look into the plugin, the Chrome extension, Clientfirst, and Ecommerce. Chrome extension. All right, cool. Okay, so we have, this is the 100th time I'm coming back to this. Okay, we added the circular button wrapper, the inner circle. So for this circular button wrapper, and again, if you just joined, we're creating this this animated button. Feel free, everyone, to keep chatting in the chat and asking questions. I'll definitely read it. Just gonna finish building this, and then I'll head back to chat. So for the circular button wrapper, we're gonna set the overflow to hidden. And what this does is this allows us to move this inner circle up and down within the circle button wrapper. So if I showcase this, if I move it, let's say I move the margin down, notice that the circle is within the other circle and it doesn't go out of it. If I were to change this to overflow visible and I move the circle, you can see it's just two circles. Yeah, no time for your animation today. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'll go to the circular button wrapper and just set it to overflow hidden. Okay, so it kind of crops the image inside of it, or the div inside of it. All right, cool. So that's probably the main part of this animation. And then, so when we animate, and then we have some text in here. Okay, so within the circular button wrapper, I'll add another div block. And I'll call this circle text wrapper. Lydia wrote, does Webflow have plugins like WordPress, and do you need to install them separately? Currently, Webflow doesn't offer plugins. Hopefully that happens at some point, but yeah, Webflow doesn't offer plugins. A lot of integrations can be added via custom code. I'm going to be creating a video this weekend on how to add a swiper.js slider into Webflow to allow for a vertical slide, along with a clip path animation and using GreenSock. So a lot of integrations can be added to Webflow via custom code, and hopefully there'll be a plugin system at some point within Webflow, but at the moment there isn't. All right. Cool. So let me add this text inside the circle button wrapper. So for this inner circle, let me set it to a position of absolute and full. And for the circular button wrapper, let me set it to a position of relative so that the circle is relative to it. And then for this inner circle, I don't need it to be 300 by 300 because we set it to a position of absolute and full. So by setting the inner circle to absolute, this circle text can now be in the center of the circle button wrapper. And for the circle button wrapper, I'll set it to flex, center, center, so that this text wrapper is in the middle here. And I'll just set it to a position of relative so it comes to the front and looks good. Hey, Abil, how's it going? Hopefully you got my that mouse scroll interaction I created in the last live stream. I think I might make a video, actually, a short video for everyone to see how I did that. But that could be a cool interaction. All right, so initially the text is white. So let me just say add, and let me, I'll set it to Montserrat, and I'll make the text white, and we'll make it very large. And line height of 1, unitless, and we'll add some letter spacing. All right, something like that. And I'll make sure the text is centered. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so it says add. Let's see if we have a different font actually. Oh no, that looks good. Montserrat. Cool, Montserrat normal. All right, not ADD, but add. Sometimes I feel like I do have ADD with going through Webflow. I don't. No, never mind. That was not true. Just because I read ADD here. How about we say what's a call to action? Enter. Yeah, enter. There we go. That's better. That's more because when add looks large and it's all capital, it's just, I don't know if it's all capital. Oh yeah, here it's not all capital. So that was on me. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. If we just say add like that, that looks better. All right, so we have that text and inner circle. So I actually meant to add a div block here. So we want to add a div block, and this should be called circle text wrapper. And this should just be called circle text. Okay, and then we're going to add the circle text inside of the wrapper. The reason we're placing it in a wrapper is because I want to set an overflow of hidden to this wrapper. So right here, overflow of hidden, so that I can move this text up and down and have it not be visible outside of the wrapper bounds. Nice. Oh, I love hearing that, Abil. Yeah. The client loved the mouse animation. Now you will soon be enjoying your coffee. You deserve it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Dude, these live streams are the best. I've learned so much already. Thank you, Alejandro. Super appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah, this is getting fun. You know, this is exactly like, or what I had envisioned for the live streams to become like really, what's the word? Not interactive, but like just as it gains more momentum, just having users just enjoy it and having more users come into the chat. And, you know, who knows within like a month or a few months, like where this live stream will be, but I'll probably have to learn how to manage or how to, you know, answer questions as well as provide content. Because if there's a lot of chats, then I'm gonna have to keep track of it. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm enjoying it, and the more viewers and users that come in, the more fun it becomes. So yeah, I won't harp on that too much, but yeah, just enjoying it. All right, cool. So we added the circle text wrapper, the circle text, and we also want to add another text. So I'm going to copy this text and going to call this circle text 2. And let me see here. All right, cool. So for this text, I'm going to make it black, or let's see, 242424. So the same color as this background, this, oops, not background color, 242424. All right, so it's the same color as this background here. And I'm going to set both of these to a position of absolute. So they overlay on top of each other. And the circle text wrapper, it is set to relative. So let's see, circle text. Let's see here. Yeah, so for the circle text wrapper, I'm going to give it a specific width and height. So something like 100 pixels by 50. Yeah, it looks good. And then I'm going to give this text wrapper a flex setting of center. So I'm just making it 100 pixels in width and 50 in height so that the text fits in the wrapper. All right. So this will make some more sense as soon as I add the animation. So we have all the elements that we need to create this animation. So I'm going to read through all the chats in 1 second. I'm just going to go through this animation because right now it's probably not looking like it's making a lot of sense because we're overlapping text on top of each other. We're using position absolute. We're using wrappers. So the way this is going to make sense is once I add the interaction. So I'll go ahead. I have all the elements I need to create this. Yeah, I'm going to start thinking of like cooking and baking analogy so we can start associating building websites with other things like, yeah, like cooking. You know, I just made some cookies yesterday. So like there's a lot of correlations or connections between, I don't know, cooking or building a site. You can make interesting connections. I don't know. Just went off on a tangent there, but just bear with me for a sec. All right, so let's add the interaction. So when I hover over the circle button wrapper, I want something to happen. So we'll click the interaction button up here. This lightning bolt symbol. I'll click the plus, select mouse hover. And I'll start an animation, start a new timed animation, and I'll say button in. And when we hover, so let's look here. So when we hover, I want this inner circle to go down 100%. So I'll say move, and I'll move it down on the y-axis. So vertically, I'll move it down 100%. So it moves down 100%. That looks good. Now we can see this add text. So let me see here. So initially the text is white. So what I want to do for this circle text right here is I'm going to move it 100% on the y-axis. So move it 100%, and I might have to make the height of the circle text wrapper smaller because we can kind of see the text a little bit, but we'll polish that up in a second. And actually, you know what? I just thought of something even better. So, yep, let me do that now actually. So for this first circle text, I'm going to set it to a position of relative. I'm going to remove the width and height from this circle text wrapper. And I'm going to set the second circle text to a position of absolute. And then it just overlays on top of it perfectly. I don't have to worry about width or height because the first circle text is creating the width and height. By setting it to relative, it expands the bounds of the div block it's in. So absolute doesn't give any width or height to the parent element, but relative does. So by setting the first text to relative, it gives me the width and height I need exactly. And then I can set the second text to a position of absolute, and it gets layered on top of it. All right. So back to the interaction, circular button wrapper, go to interactions, mouse hover, button in, and now the circle text, the black text, right? Because we're starting with white initially. Yeah, the black text will start at 100%, so it's at the bottom, and we'll set it as the initial state. So initially, that text is 100% at the bottom, so we don't see it, and all we see is this add text. So right now, if I hover, we can see that circle goes down. So what I want to do now is move that black text up and move the white text up as well. All right, so I'll select the first circle text and I'll say move on the y-axis. We'll move it negative 100%, so it moves up, and we'll start it with the inner circle moving. So I'll click, hold, and drag so those two start together. So if I play, we can see the circle goes down and the text goes up. And then for this white circle text right up here, I'll say move. And I could probably change the class name so it's a bit clear for everyone watching. But this is the first circle text right here. And I'm going to say move to 0%. So it moves, it moves to the original position, and I'll start it here. All right. So it starts with everything else. So let's see here. Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted. So hopefully that made sense. So for let me see, this is the black text. I'm not going to say class because both of them are named circle text. And just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to give them specific names. So circle text white. And then I'm just going to remove this combo class. and duplicate this class and say circle text black. Okay, and then I'm gonna say position absolute and give it the color 242424. That way, as we're creating the interaction, it's a bit more clear. So I want to make this as clear as possible. So the circle text white initially, circle text white. Is that okay? So I just have to change this a bit. So circle text white, change target. Did I get that right? Oh, I just confused myself there. So let me just start over. Okay. All right, so we have the inner circle. The inner circle moves down, and the circle text black. So we're gonna move it down 100%. So it starts 100% lower, and we're gonna move. Oh yeah, we're gonna start it with the inner circle, and for the circle text black. Wait, let me see here for a sec. Okay, yeah, circle text black, it's going to be set as initial state. There we go. Okay, so the black text initially starts at the bottom, so we don't see it. And we have the inner circle. So then we move the white text, we're going to move it up negative 100%. And start it with the inner circle, and then the circle text black, we're going to move it up to 0%, so it goes to the center, and we're going to start it with this. So if I play it, perfect. Okay, so hopefully you can read, the names or the labels of the classes here, the names here. Okay, so cool. So we got that. Perfect. So now what we want to do, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because if you notice on this animation, the text always animates from the bottom. So what we want to do is for the white text that went up negative 100%, we want to immediately bring it back down to 100%. So it went to negative 100. So we want to bring it down to 100% with no duration. So I'll select that text. I'll say move 100% down, and we'll give it a duration of 0. And that's basically it. Yeah. All right, cool. So we did that. And then on the hover out, we're going to do something similar. So let's see how this looks. Looks good. Let me change the speed to it's going to be really fast, 0.3 seconds. Got an email. Hey, what dude? How's it going? Oh man, so good to see you. Yeah. So Wadud is, I worked with him at Webflow. We were both doing customer support. Wadud is super smart. He knows everything about Webflow. It was amazing working with him. Just super knowledgeable. If you have questions about Webflow, just, type. Wadud probably doesn't want to help anybody here because he's answering questions all the time, but he's super knowledgeable about Webflow. Okay, so Lydia wrote, in the interaction, what's the difference between starting at 0 and checking the box set as initial state? So the difference would be, that's a great question. So when setting an initial state, you want to set, so for example, on this one, the circle text black, if I didn't set the initial state to 100%, then that black text would be visible initially. So by setting it as the initial state, as soon as the page loads, that's the state the element is going to be in. If I were to just set it to 100%, then you would see it animate to 100%. So just for example, as an example, if I uncheck set as initial state, we're going to see what happens. So you saw what happened there. That black text is visible initially, and then when I hover, it moves down 100%, which kind of throws off the animation. So initial state is kind of what it denotes. It's like the state you want the element to be in before the animation starts. You could also, I mean, there are, you know, different ways to approach an animation or a build. Like you could, well, actually, I don't like using transforms. I don't like using transforms with interactions because sometimes there's conflicts there. So I like to move all of my elements within the interaction initially, and use initial states within the interaction. Or you could like use margin if you wanted to, or, you know, to move it down 100%, or the position properties to move. You can use position properties. So like for this, the circle text black, I could go into position absolute, you know, set it to the bottom, something like that, and then do 100% from the bottom, or the top actually, to move it down. And it would move it down. So it's just a personal preference. I myself just like to use interactions to move the elements where I want them to be. But that's a good question. I think the more you work with interactions in Webflow, the more you'll start to kind of develop your own style for how you want to approach a different animation. But there are different ways to move an element prior to the animation occurring. All right, so yeah, I'll go ahead and finish this up. And let me remove this absolute positioning that I added. And we'll go into here. And cool. So I think this one's done. Let me set this back to an initial state. And I'll set this to 0 for the last white text. All right, so we hover and we have that animation. Then I'll just add some easing to this. I'll say ease. Let's try ease in out. Yeah, that looks good. And now on the hover out, we want to do something very similar. So on hover out, we'll start an animation, and we'll duplicate this button in, and I'll say button out. Here, button out. All right, so I can delete this initial state because I don't need that anymore. For hover out or click out animations, we don't really need an initial state. Cool. So what I want to do here is, let me just look at this animation. I want to move the inner circle back up to 0%, and the circle text white, I'm going to move it, I'm going to move it to 0%. And the circle text black, I'm going to move it to negative 100%, so it moves up. And then the circle text, rather than circle text white here, I'm going to change the target and set this to circle text black. So essentially what's happening is the white text that was visible, so when we preview, the white text is visible, then the black text is visible, and then when we hover out, it just happens in reverse. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. Oh no, we have spam. Shoot. Oh, that's great. Okay. All right, so I might have to start monitoring spam. Okay. Yeah, I guess so, Manuel. Wow. Cool. So yeah, I basically just did everything in reverse. I moved the inner circle, I moved it back down to 0%. The white text, we moved it up to 0%. So that's why in the hover state, we moved it down to 0, like without any duration. So it just resets the animation. So that white text goes up and then goes down immediately. And we don't see it because it doesn't have duration. But then on the hover out, that white text is at the bottom. So then when I set it to 0% on hover out, it goes from the bottom to the middle because we set it to the bottom. And then for the text black, we moved it up. So the black text goes up, and then we reset it and move it immediately back to the bottom with 0 duration, so that it just resets. So it's like it goes up. So we have the text. Yeah, it goes up, resets, goes up, resets, goes up, resets. And so it's always coming in from the bottom. All right. And that's it. So that's how we created this button animation. All right. So now I can resize it, make it any size. I can change the circular button wrapper to a link block. So in case we wanted to link out to something. So I just have to select it. Here, let me hide this for a second. Convert to link block, and then just remove the underline decoration from the link block. All right, and then I can link out to WebDev for you. Yay! All right, so since I'm almost done, I'm gonna finish this up. I'll go ahead and publish, and then I'll read through a few of the chats that I didn't get a chance to read. Okay, cool. So that's how we created the button. It looks a little bit faster here, so we can make it faster. So the interaction, we'll go in and we'll select these three and we'll set it to 0.2. And let's do ease in out expo. Let's try that. Oh, that's too fast. How about ease in out quint? That's a kind of a cool one. Or quart. Nope, too fast. So the duration, I'll have to set it to 0.3. That's not bad. Let's do 0.4. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And then we'll go to the button out, select these three, do 0.4, and ease in out quint. Yeah, that looks good. And yeah, I could spend time with the different easings here. That's part of the fun of building animations and interactions. Cool, so let's make this button smaller. Because obviously I don't think depending on your site, you might have a button this large, but I'm gonna make it 100 by 100 and then make the text for this. Let's make it 24, or how about 18? And this one 18 as well. All right. That looks good. And we built the animation. Awesome. Looks good. And I might make the text bold. A little bit bolder. That's not bad. All right, so oh, thank you, Bill. Yeah, I get inspiration from different sources. So this was inspired by codedrops.com, and you know, they just had this animation, and I thought, oh, that looks really cool. I want to build that. So yeah, I would probably say something like enter here. I think enter would be a better word. Enter, and then I would make this a little bit larger, maybe like 150, maybe 125 by 125, and then yeah, we'll make this visible again. All right, cool. So that's it for the live stream today. A lot of fun. Yeah, the one thing that kind of throws me off is that when you add letter spacing, the text doesn't look fully centered. So I think when you add letter spacing, you might have to add negative margin to move it to the right. So I added letter spacing of 3 pixels. So I'm just going to add a margin of -3 to the text to see if it looks more centered. And I think it will. Because I might add 3 pixels to the end. Yeah, that looks perfectly centered now. So I just learned something new, so that's a fun tidbit, and hopefully everyone just saw that. So when adding letter spacing, it looks like 3 pixels get added to the end of the text. So if you're trying to center text, or let me see actually, could I just do align center and let me remove? No, you have to add that that negative margin to make the text look centered. Yeah, it looks a bit better. It looks a bit more centered. All right, so that can make a really fun button for a website. Yeah, and that'll conclude this build, this interaction. So Bill wrote, "What do you think is the future of web design? Will it still be relevant in the next 10 years?" Absolutely, yes. I'm gonna say absolutely. Didn't quite land there with that one. I think I've been talking a lot, so like, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I definitely think that web design is going to keep getting more and more relevant. Like, new businesses are popping up every day and everyone needs a website. Like, the internet is the most amazing invention, like the most amazing tool. Like, you can communicate with basically almost the entire world via the internet. So like, it's such a powerful communication vehicle or a communication thing that I don't see the demand for websites declining. I see the demand for websites increasing. And that's why I see the demand for Webflow increasing. And especially when Webflow adds even more features, like, I'm not going to mention them, but we all know the features we're looking for. But, and then as Webflow becomes even more refined and the web becomes even more refined, I think it's just going to be like exponentially growing. Along with apps, right? Everyone has a mobile device and apps are a big part of different devices. Yeah. But, there's now web apps, right? So web apps are like websites that handle a lot more functionality, which hopefully Webflow goes in that direction. David wrote, "Can you give feedback on an animation for a model I made?" Yeah, I think that's a super chat request feature, David. Since it is related to your personal project, but feel free to drop a super chat and I'll spend a few extra minutes going over your site. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack here and read some of the comments, see if I missed anything. Is it really stopping cookie? David wrote, "Is it really stopping cookies being placed before they confirm?" Oh, this was for Omcar. I answered the plugin question. Thank you, Bill. You can just rebuild options and it will add copy. I'm going to check more into the Fin Suite. Yeah, that's Fin Suite. One of the things I liked most about Webflow was that with my knowledge only in UI design, it allowed me to quickly create pages and animations very fast. My stakeholders really liked it. Yeah, definitely. Webflow is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, can't believe it's Thursday already and we'll have to wait for next Monday. Yeah, no worries. I mean, yeah, we'll cover some good stuff on Monday as well. Yeah, thank you, Glauber. Nice. So yeah, I'll wait a few more minutes, David, if you want to post that site or if you're interested in the super chat request. But yeah, and if you're trying to send the link, you might have to send it to my email. So because the super chat doesn't allow links and probably for spam reasons for sure. You can go to WebDev for you and just fill out this contact form and I should receive the email. All right. So yeah. And sorry for my slip-ups in communication. Sometimes I'm trying to express an idea, and sometimes it's an emotional idea that I want to convey without sounding weird. So like I'm trying to find the words in my mind sometimes to communicate certain things. Yes, hopefully Webflow will be able to extend their approach to app development at some point. This will be quite a task though, I guess. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Webflow is trying to really build the foundation of web development and or build a really solid base for the platform itself, for the designer, for the different integrations that go into it, that, you know, developing apps would probably be down the line, because there's still so many features that Webflow wants to add and that customers are requesting. So I think apps would be, you know, like mobile apps would be maybe something else down the line. Yeah, it would definitely be awesome. I think that's probably in the pipeline, or like somewhere within Webflow's roadmap, you know, but it could be like the 5-year roadmap or 7-10 year roadmap. I don't know. And saying that is, you know, speculative. It could be sooner. I have no idea. But it does take time and effort and engineers and structure and all that stuff to build a really great product. And Webflow has already shown that, you know, it is doing that. You know, they have an amazing product, and they continue to build upon this product, which is already amazing. Alex and Base wrote, do you have any quick website inspos that you think we should look at? Yeah, I think I went over this in a live stream a few live streams ago. I have a tab here, website inspiration. So this is a blog article for from Webflow. You know, you could just type in web design inspiration Webflow, and this article will pop up, and I'll just post it here in the chat. And Webflow just has a lot of great examples of really cool websites, or where to find inspiration for cool websites. Sites that I use CodeDrops heavily. My words today. CodeDrops.com. They have inspirational websites. They have a roundup like almost every week. I mean, you can click in and just view tons of awesome websites. I mean, look at this. This is something else. I think this is a background video for sure. But look at that. Like, you know, that's why I love Webflow. Like, to build something like this, you could do it in Webflow. You could absolutely build something like this in Webflow. Like, you know, at some point a few years ago, I would look at something like this and be like, how? Like, what? And now I look at it and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not that hard. You know, and building a menu like this, that's easy. You know, easy, what's a term for, another term for easy? Yeah, and this, I might show how to use a counter like this. Like, that's easy too. It's just some custom code for that. But yeah, like some people might look at this and be like, oh my God, looks amazing, and this might be difficult to build. It really isn't. Like, this could be done in a couple days or less, couple hours, if the design was all there and you kind of knew what you were, or, you know, what animations to add. All right, so something like this catches my eye. The reason this catches my eye is because the design is so clean and elegant, right? So when we think of animations and interactions, we always think of like these crazy, like out of this world animations and things like that. And that's all cool, or like 3D, VR and all this stuff. And that's great. But if it doesn't catch your eye, or it's not elegant, sometimes it can hinder the message you're actually trying to communicate. Animations can sometimes be a distraction rather than an assist or a help to what you're trying to communicate. So just keep that in mind. So something like this, I don't see this as a hindrance. Like, the design is super clean, the text is easy to read, and all they have is like probably this SVG image in the background rotating. That's all they have, but it's super effective, right? So that's the approach I like to take usually when adding animations, keeping it simple, elegant, and having it serve a purpose within the website, and have it be visually pleasing. You know, here what it says is design and code. Like, that's awesome. It's like a portfolio site. And then I click work, and look, a color. That's a color. Yeah. Look at that. Super effective. Yeah. I love really big text and bold and good alignment and all that stuff. So again, I mentioned this I think in every live stream, because too often I find web developers miss the importance of UI design, which is like aligning elements and picking the right colors and making sure you have a good design for your site. So I highly recommend the Learn UI Design course by Erik Kennedy. And he goes over UI design. So along with this course and Webflow, you'll be building really beautiful and awesome websites. And I'll just post it here. A link to this, I'll post it here. So Manuel wrote, talking about apps, do you know why Webflow is not having an app to use Webflow? I don't know the exact reason for that, but I think that Webflow is just focusing so much on making sure the browser version of their product works 100%, so, or as close to as 100% as possible. So before they get into an actual app, I think they just want to really solidify the different features and functionality of the web-based version of Webflow. But that could come at some point. All right. So yeah, I think we're almost done here. So more inspiration website. So I like going to, there's this Instagram profile, which is We Love Web Design. You can check that out. UI Bucket has some good stuff. Dribble, just go on Dribble, and look. You can look up some really cool sites. Yeah, awards.com has tons of websites. And yeah. Oh wait, no, let's try. Yeah, and these different resources are great inspiration for design as well. So when I think about web development, I think about it in conjunction with design. So it should be web design and development. And usually you'll have a designer and a developer, and I think that's why Webflow is so powerful, is because you can be both, right? Like a designer can now be a web developer and doesn't have to hire a web developer per se to build a site. And not to take anything away from web developers, but that's where I see the power of Webflow. It gives more users the ability to build a website. All right. Cool. Good place to find case study layouts. Good place to find case study layouts. That's a good question. Case study layout, website layouts. So maybe Pinterest. Yeah, Pinterest is another good place. Yeah, I might just do like a Google search for that. Or check out Webflow templates. They might have some good. Let me see, Webflow template marketplace. And I'll type in case studies. See if there's something like that. Yeah, there might be something here that you can kind of browse through. Yeah, but I'd probably just do a Google search, or just go to awards.com, see if there's anything there. There's a search function in awards. Yeah. Behance for sure. Yep. Definitely. Yeah, and just to kind of be super clear about, I mean, at this point I might stop saying it, but I never quite considered myself a designer. I'm more technical as far as web development. Like, I usually have users build out the design first and then I build it. But I'm gonna probably stop saying that, because I do feel, after working with sites so much in design, that I do know quite a bit about design now, that I don't consider myself a professional designer where I've crafted a style and all of that, but I do know enough about alignment and colors and placement of things and spacing where I feel comfortable saying, yeah, I know a bit about how to make a site look decent or good. And again, that's props to the Learn UI design course where it goes over like typography, color, design process, and how to create interface components. All right. But yeah, I never, went to school for art or anything like that, or developed a specific artistic style. I do love animation, so I can say like I've worked with animations enough to feel more proficient in that as well. Like as far as like specific easing and timing, I've created over 150 animations and interactions in Webflow where it's taught me so much about adding specific easing, adding specific timing, and then also working in Adobe After Effects. And I took a course on After Effects, and that helped me with animation as well. So all of this can be learned. It's not like you're born with like how to build a really good UI. This all can all be learned through videos, courses, and all that stuff. And then using tools like Webflow, we can use all that knowledge to build something that communicates really well. Or it's always about the content, right? You want to have content, substantial content to your site so that you're communicating something great, but you want to embellish that content with good design and functionality and a good user interface so that the user can receive that content in a great way. All right, I'm getting a little bit maybe meta with some of these topics, but yeah, I think I'm going to end the live stream here. It's been a great week. Appreciate everyone joining and all the questions. This was a pop-in live stream today. It's getting me excited for what's to come in the future live streams. And this is kind of what I'm hoping for these streams is, have it continue to build momentum to the point where we have a lot of viewers come in and a lot of different questions come in, and then people are helping each other in chat, answer each other's questions, and I'm able to answer questions and go over things live right in the live stream and go over how to use Webflow in the live stream. Thank you. Damn, your streams bring luck. Believe it or not, I got 3 website requests while watching today. What's happening? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because we're putting it out there. We're communicating this idea, and the more people that come together to communicate a specific idea, I think that branches out or maybe gets felt. Yeah, definitely getting meta here for sure. But yeah, that's great, Manuel. Appreciate it. Or yeah, and happy for you. 100%. So yeah, who knows where this live stream goes? We just keep building momentum, and as Webflow builds momentum as well, users will have a spot to go to quickly see someone build in Webflow and ask questions. As well, Webflow has a lot of resources as well. All right, so I did mention I wanted to stop exactly at 1, and I'm having trouble talking along with ending at 1 o'clock. But moving forward, I'm going to try to stick to 1 o'clock more often because I do value everyone's time, and I don't want anyone to feel like they have to stay for the entire over an hour, unless they want to watch and I'm covering something super interesting. Yeah. But it's hard because I just want to continue talking about Webflow and, answering questions and interacting with everyone in chat. But I do have to stay disciplined with that aspect of it and start ending closer to 1. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Appreciate everyone joining. Hopefully everything I communicated today was clear. I went a bit abstract. And when I go a bit abstract, sometimes I don't know if my ideas communicate effectively, but I had so much fun with everyone today, and I think that probably contributed to me just wanting to interact the with everyone in chat. I want to say community, but it's not quite a community yet. It's just us having fun in chat and just learning Webflow together. Thanks, Manuel. Appreciate the coffee. Bill, appreciate it as well. And for everyone who's new, who's joined today, I do these live streams every Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. And I cover everything from building sites in Webflow, building layouts, creating animations and interactions, and as well as providing support. And if the support is related to a personal project, you can drop a super chat and I can take a look at the personal project and go over it live here as well, so you can see what I do here in Webflow. All right, so today we built this little animation inspired by code drops. So they just have a bunch of buttons here, and we built out this one. So it's pretty similar. The timing and easing might be a little bit different, but it was a lot of fun to build. All right, so that concludes today's live stream. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I will see you Monday. Thank you.